Hello and welcome to Victoriana. It's the beginning of July and finally the weather has cheered up and seems to be on a more cheerful pattern. Things like the tomatoes are also finally growing away. Now we've actually got some reasonable weather and it's catch-up time really. We've actually got quite behind on lots and lots of jobs because we've been so busy. So for instance, the tomatoes are what I'm working on at the moment and desperately trying to get all tied in and side shooted. As I say, we've been really busy and things have just had to hang on and we've just had to get on with everything else around us. But I'll give you a quick run around the nursery and tell you what's been going on here, there and everywhere. Probably noticed I'm wearing purple. That's another change we've made. We've decided we're going to change our uniform a little bit to match in with the website, and so over the next few weeks and months we'll all be turning purple. I guess the other exciting thing for us is this is July and 2013, and 50 years ago this month, actually July the 17th, is when my parents came to Chollock and started the first nursery. So we're also celebrating our 50th anniversary in a week or two's time, which in this day and age isn't a bad thing to make it that far. But I'll give you a quick run around the nursery, show you what we've been up to, show you how far behind we are on some things and how we're gradually catching up, and yeah, good time of year really. So as I say, everything's growing and now it's just a case for us to catch up really. And out here on the vegetable garden, this is about the first straight day that Brian's had for weeks and weeks and weeks. So he's beating through the asparagus bed. We're still picking asparagus, and he's got a lot of weeding to do here, there and everywhere. But despite that, we're actually very pleased with how things have come on now, considering the way the weather has been earlier on. We kept our sweet corn in containers and only planted out a week or so ago, so they're very nice and growing away nicely. We had to tie them in because obviously we've also had some very strong winds. Behind there as well we've got some brassicas, and once again they're growing away beautifully now, and the spuds are literally growing like Goliath. You can almost see them growing day by day. So really, yeah, vegetable garden we're pleased with. Under weeds, but hopefully by the end of this week it won't be. So here at the front of the bubble, the arbour is basically finished. We struggled a couple of weeks ago to get the grape up and over, and that seems to be a bit more cheerful now. Wasn't very happy when we moved it, but it seems to be cheering up now. And a bit like the flower area itself, which is really cheering up, and lots and lots of pretty bits and pieces in here. We've had quite a lot of wind over the last few weeks, so a few bits are looking a bit knocked about, but in general it's really looking quite cheerful and exactly how we wanted it to really. So I said the miscanthus hedge would put on some growth after we cut it right down to the ground, and here it is. It's just about 6 feet now, and obviously with the warm weather now it really will rush away and grow away, which is the same story really for all our potted fruit. That's what's been keeping us busy the last few weeks, as we've been dispatching out an awful lot of potted fruit, and that really has grown on, and it's nearly time to start pruning back, doing a summer prune on it all. So as soon as we get on top of some of the other jobs, that'll be the next job. So up here in the top house, it's a sort of half and half story really. Got some quite big gaps because obviously at this time of year we don't need the protection, but on other things like herbs we've struggled to keep up with production, so we got lots and lots more coming on under protection just to give that extra little bit of oomph. Also still growing quite a few veg bits and pieces now and thinking towards the autumn already. And similarly on the perennials front as well, we're thinking about next year. So over the next few weeks and months we'll be pricking out all sorts of things that we won't even think of selling until next year. So yeah, half full at the moment, but won't be half full forever. So out here in the cell area, it's a similar story really to under glass. We've got some gaps because obviously some crops coming to an end, but similarly we're soon filling them up with things coming out from under protection. So not too untidy out here, but we do really want to get out here and have a good weed through, and that'll be a job for the next few weeks, hopefully. The only other real change we've made out here is to our little veg transplant frame, and we've actually raised the netting up on that because the pigeons learnt that if one stood on the netting, then it weighed it down and meant that another one could nibble the bits and pieces through. So we've beaten the blighters at it now by raising it up. So here in the bubble, we're actually still pretty full. Certainly we are in the prop. Right up the other end there, we're producing things like creeping thyme for lawns, and heath pearlwort for lawns, and chamomile for lawns. We're also thinking about next year as well, so we've got some asparagus that we've just recently sown, and quite a few perennials that will be following on. So nothing for this year, but for next year, all underway. So yeah, no, beds are still running, they're still on heat. Obviously at this time of year they're not calling for much heat, but funnily enough we are still getting chilly nights, so we're using a bit here and there. There are Millie's bananas, Millie grew some bananas from seed. That's Millie, our daughter, and they're coming along very, very nicely too. What she's going to do with them this winter we're not quite sure, but they'll be quite fun. And over on the other side here, all the chilies, waiting for them to go into the veg tunnel. Once we've got the space, once we've moved the strawberries and the raspberries and things out, they'll move over into there. We've got some spare space in here, so they're sitting here in here at the moment, which is fine. And yeah, no, the rest of the house itself is actually pretty chocker with all the usual things. Lots and lots of fuchsias. Got some beautiful citrus, some very, very large citrus, some Mediterranean lemons and limes and oranges and all sorts. So yeah, no, we're really, really full up in here at the moment. So finishing where we started, back in the veg tunnel, we've still got the strawberries in, which this time last year of course we would have had the chilies in, but with the lateness of the season we've decided to keep the strawberries in here. I've got the chilies growing on in the bubble at the moment. Moved the tomatoes in a few weeks back now, and as I said earlier, they've started to cheer up and we're just going through and side shooting. We've got the raspberries there that are in fruit, so that will give us some early raspberry fruit. And right down the far end we've also got the containerised sweet corn, which are growing away nicely and starting to come up and think about flowering. So we're very pleased in here really. After such a bad beginning to the year, things are picking up, and I think that is the case in a bad year. Sometimes patience pays off. Trying to rush and trying to push things on just because it's meant to be that time to be doing things doesn't always work, and we're not real big believers in that. And as I say, the tomatoes have picked up and caught up now. The chilies aren't far behind. We've still got strawberries to eat, so really it's all things good all round in here. And yeah, we're pretty confident that for Tomato Day this year we'll have a good range of tomatoes, even if we don't have the full 60 varieties, but I think we'll be there. So that's about it for beginning of July. It's going to be a busy month. Hopefully it's going to be a warm month, but not too warm, and hopefully we're going to get some rain as well. That's what we all need, and I'll catch up with you at the beginning of August.